In the narrow streets of old Gwangju, lanterns swayed in the night breeze. Merchants called out, lovers whispered, and laughter echoed. But among them stood a food stall unlike any other. The locals whispered of its owner, a woman whose beauty lured men like moths to flame. She was pale and radiant, her long black hair spilling over a crimson hanbok that clung to her figure. Her eyes glimmered with secrets, and her lips curved into a smile that promised warmth, while hiding hunger. A drunken man staggered to her stall, drawn in by her allure. He devoured the steaming kimchi stew she offered, his laughter loud and careless. But as he stumbled away, something strange happened. His shadow trembled, then faded into nothingness. Behind the stall, the woman opened a black earthen jar. A faint glow drifted from her victim, captured and swirling like mist. She whispered dark incantations, and poured the stolen essence into her pot. For a brief moment, her eyes flashed crimson. Word spread quickly, her stew was no ordinary meal. They said it healed fatigue, cured sorrow, even gave broken men the will to love again. Soon, lines formed at her stall. None knew the secret, that their joy was bought with pieces of their very souls. One evening, a poor blind man arrived. His cane tapped softly on the stones, his steps careful. His clothes were worn, yet his voice was calm. He bowed politely and asked, "Madam, may I have only a small bowl?" She studied him, surprised. He did not stare at her beauty, nor boast like the others. When she placed the steaming bowl before him, he smiled and said softly, "Your voice, it sounds warm, like the sun." Her chest stirred with an unfamiliar ache. He tasted the stew slowly, savoring each bite. His smile widened. "It tastes like home," he whispered. But as he finished, a golden shimmer rose from his chest and sank into the pot. The woman gasped. His soul, too, had been touched. Alone, she pressed her trembling hands to her lips. Why did this man's essence not thrill her, as the others had? Why did it weigh on her heart, leaving her restless with guilt? For the first time, she felt sorrow for what she had done. That night, her dreams twisted into nightmare. A shadowy demon hissed, its claws curling around her throat. "Do not forget your bargain. Without souls, your beauty will rot. Your life will end." She awoke drenched in sweat, her heart torn between hunger and feeling. The next evening, the blind man returned. His cane tapped softly against the stone path. He placed a single worn coin on the counter and bowed. "Forgive me," he said, "this is all I have. May I taste your stew once more?" The woman hesitated, but her heart stirred with warmth as she served him. This time, she sat near him. As he ate, he spoke gently of his life. He told her how he had lost his sight as a child, and how he now saw the world not with his eyes, but through voices and kindness. She listened in silence, shaken by his purity. That night, memories clawed their way back. She was once a starving orphan, mocked for her ugliness, desperate for survival. A demon had promised her eternal beauty and success, in exchange for one simple bargain: she would feed, not on flesh, but on souls. Since then, she had obeyed without regret, until now. Her sleep turned restless. The demon appeared in her dream, its voice like smoke and fire. "Do not falter. The blind one is no different from the others. His soul already seasons your stew." She woke gasping, her body trembling with fear and shame. By candlelight, she stared at her reflection. Her beauty, once her pride, now felt like a mask. Her hands clenched the mirror's edge as she whispered the blind man's words. "Your voice sounds warm, like the sun." For the first time, she did not believe the face staring back was her own. The following evening, the blind man returned with a small bundle. Inside lay a simple carved flute. He bowed and said softly, "I cannot always pay with coins, but I can offer you music." He raised the flute to his lips and played a gentle melody that floated like wind through the lanterns. Her eyes filled with tears she could not explain. Something inside her stirred, something forbidden. The hollow hunger that had driven her for years now quivered at the sound of his music. For the first time since the curse began, she felt what she thought was lost forever: love. That night, a group of young men crowded her stall, eager for her stew. But she waved them away with cold excuses. Her hands shook. Her body grew weak. Without souls, the demon's curse was gnawing at her from within. Suddenly, the black earthen jar cracked. Red broth boiled on its own. Smoke hissed through the air. The demon's voice thundered, "If you refuse to feed, I will devour you myself." She collapsed to her knees, clutching her chest as unseen claws ripped at her soul. Alone in the darkness, she whispered the truth she could no longer bear. "I cannot love him, for I have already stolen part of his soul." Her tears fell into the bubbling pot, and for the first time, the stew shimmered with sorrow. Days passed, and the blind man's steps grew heavy. His voice, once strong and warm, grew softer with each visit. The cook realized the truth with horror. His fading strength was the echo of the soul she had already stolen. Desperate, she scoured her books of incantations, clawing through the cursed jar, searching for a way to give it back. But every word mocked her, every page repeated the same truth: what is eaten can never be returned. One night, the blind man sat at her stall. His face glowed with a quiet smile as he said, "Even though I cannot see, I feel warmth when I sit near you. For the first time in many years, I feel alive." Her chest ached with a grief too heavy to carry. The demon rose in smoke above her pot, its voice thundering. "Choose. His soul, or yours. Feed on him fully, and you will live 100 years. Refuse, and your beauty, your life, will crumble to dust." That night, she followed him home. His hut was small, broken, filled with silence. Alone, he held the flute he had given her, pressing it to his lips even in sleep. She heard her name whispered faintly, and her heart shattered. The next evening, he returned. She placed before him not cursed stew, but a plain bowl of rice and cabbage. He ate with joy, smiling through tears. This is the most delicious meal I've ever had." She turned her face away, hiding her own tears. When the stall was empty, she lifted the black jar high and smashed it upon the stones. The stolen souls burst free, rising into the night sky like glowing fireflies. The demon shrieked, "Fool! Without me, you are nothing." Her body weakened, her beauty fading, but her eyes burned with resolve. At her stall, her breath grew shallow, her skin pale. The blind man reached for her trembling hands. "What's happening to you?" he asked. She could not answer. Only tears slid silently down her face as her body grew frail beneath his touch. The demon burst forth, snarling, its shadowy claws reaching for the blind man's chest. With her last strength, she threw herself into the boiling pot of cursed stew. Flames roared upward, her body dissolving into light. The demon shrieked as it was consumed, vanishing into smoke. At dawn, the blind man awoke on the empty street. His body was strong again, his soul restored, but the food stall was gone, as though it had never been. Only the flute remained, lying cold upon the stones. He lifted it to his lips and played a mournful tune. As the melody rose into the sky, the narrator whispered, "Thus ended the tale of the evil cook of Gwangju Street. She was a monster, yet in love, she found her humanity too late. Her beauty fed on souls, but her final act fed on sacrifice."